STDs leaving an impact in the area, a milestone for the River Music Experience, and celebrating the life of a music legend and a true original, the impact of Louie Bellson in the cities. In a moment, the music of the cities, whether it's celebrating the roots of our River Music Experience or celebrating the life of one of its truly inspirational legends, Louie Bellson. That's just ahead. But first, a health alert. Sexually transmitted diseases like gonorrhea are on the rise nationwide and increasing at an alarming rate in Rock Island County. The Health Department wants to make sure it's a condition that's not ignored. And joining us is the Chief Operating Officer of the Rock Island County Health Department, Janet Hill. Thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Is it unusual for the Illinois Health Department to declare this as an outbreak? And that's a specific word that the state was using, was outbreak.
That's correct. It is unusual. What it means is that we have at least a 50% increase year over year. So for the first quarter of 18 to the first quarter of 19, we had a 67% increase.
And what that means in numbers is that you have 44 cases of gonorrhea this year compared to 27 last year.
That's correct.
Now, is this when you think outbreak, you also think widespread, and that does not necessarily sound widespread to me.
It's not particularly widespread, but we have been noticing the numbers going up. Just like you said, with nationwide, the numbers are going up. The second half of 2018, we were seeing the numbers climb steadily.
Yeah, and is this one of those things that it's more societal? Is it something that I don't know. There's a pendulum swing when it comes to drugs. There's a pendulum swing when it comes to bad behavior. There seems to be possibly a pendulum swing when it comes to health issues as well.
Perhaps you're right. We are noticing a paradox because teen pregnancy rates and the birth rate are going down. At the same time, STI rates are going up. So we need to get the message out that while birth control pills and IUDs and the like prevent pregnancy, they don't prevent STIs. The only way to prevent an STI is to put a barrier. And for most of the time, that's a condom.
And the difference, I apologize, the difference between an STI and an STD is
what? You know,
what?
STI is just the new term.
Okay.
It's infection instead of disease.
I see, thank you. Have we noticed it's a certain age group? I mean, is it just young kids being young, or do we know that at all? Because I know keeping statistics is something, when it involves confidentiality, you have to be careful.
Here it's a little bit younger, but other parts of the country it's a senior population. It just kind of depends on the area, but here it's a little bit younger.
Now, when you're finding out about the issues of STIs or STDs, are they being reported to the health department, or is this a percentage that's coming to the health department?
It is being reported to the health department. So whether you get treated at your own private physician or at community health care or wherever, it comes to us and then we send it on to the state.
Well, not to be too indelicate, what are we looking for? What are the warning signs? And like you said, if you're not being preventable, you at least should know what you're getting into.
Right. Well, it is, first of all, a very serious condition, especially in women. It can lead to infertility. So while a person may not want to become pregnant now, maybe they would like to in the future, and having an untreated STI could prevent that. It leads to a condition called pelvic inflammatory disease, which is very painful and can cause infertility or even an ectopic pregnancy. Which is extremely dangerous.
So even though this is very dangerous and it's, let's be honest, a somewhat common disease, it's also easily treatable.
Absolutely. A round or two of antibiotics will take care of it.
That's all it takes. Now, we're not only talking about gonorrhea, we're also seeing increases in chlamydia and syphilis. Is that locally or nationwide?
That's nationwide also. We are seeing increases locally. Chlamydia tends to be younger women. Men can have it too, but we are seeing a little bit more younger women. And then syphilis is increasing in the population of men who have sex with men.
And is it surprising to the people that become infected? Is like, oh no, this can't be me. How did this happen? Or is it usually, yeah, I know it was this person? Well,
we urge everyone who is participating in non-monogamous sexual activity who thinks that they might have been exposed to get tested. I mean, the only way that you know is to get tested.
And that's why, I mean, when we're talking about the 44 cases of gonorrhea, that's 44 individuals, right?
That is.
And it could be just, how do I say this? I'm trying not to be too indelicate, but it could be a few people that have multiple partners.
That absolutely could be true.
So is that somewhat more worrisome? Is that perhaps the general population goes, yeah, it's not a big deal?
I would say that, you know, people who are in monogamous relationships who know the status of their partner have nothing to worry about. But, you know, people who are younger tend to take a little bit more risk, or if, you know, I think that people in their heart know whether they have put themselves at risk, and they just need to have a conversation with themselves and their partners and come to the health department or one of our partners to get tested.
I was going to say, and their doctors as well. And you said you can come to the health clinic at the health department as well, on Wednesdays, I know in particular.
Right, 1 to 3 p.m. on Wednesday. It's a walk-in clinic. It's $25 for treatment and testing.
All right, I want to talk to another issue, and that is we're getting into spring, warmer weather. We've got floodwaters and we've got standing water all over the place. That's only going to lead to a tough mosquito season this year.
It's very possible. The good news is that mosquitoes that breed in standing water are more nuisance mosquitoes. They do not carry disease.
Okay, because what we're usually worried about now is Zika as well as West Nile.
Right.
Is there a season for that?
It's hot and dry weather.
Okay.
In this part of the country, we don't have the mosquitoes that carry Zika cannot live. In far southern Illinois is about the northern range. But West Nile is a serious concern in this community and around here. But that's more hot, dry weather, so later on in the summertime.
Are you a little worried because the flood conditions are expected to extend well into the late spring, if not even the summer?
Well, floodwaters, but also any standing water, like a little kid swimming pool or a birdhouse.
You keep pointing out if there's a tire laying out there, or just any kind of puddle type.
Exactly. So, you know, there's not a huge health risk with that, but they certainly are annoying.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So keep a watch out as it gets warmer, as it gets drier, then we got more of the concern for Zika in West Nile.
Right.
All right, Shannon Hill, thanks so much. We appreciate you joining us. That's the Chief Operating Officer of the Rock Island County Health Department. And in a moment, a milestone for the RME and a tribute to a music legend in the cities. But first, Laura Adams, Out and About.
This is Out and About for April 22nd through 28th. It's Fireworks Friday as the Quad Cities River Bandits play April 26th. April 27th is full of activities. There's Jumer's 11th Annual Bridal Fair, the March of Dimes March for Babies fundraising event at the Mississippi Valley Fairgrounds, Gilda's Run for Laughs starting at 9 a.m. in downtown Rock Island, the Autism Awareness Walk taking place at the PepsiCo Recreational Center at Augustana College. They're starting at 9 o'clock. The Geneseo Masons Craft Show and Consignment Sale at the Masonic Lodge in Geneseo. The First Christian Church of East Moline holding their scavenger hunt to benefit their veterans project Helmets of Hope, or help spruce up the Nahant Marsh during their annual cleanup on the 27th. Humility Homes and Services in Davenport holds its Fresh Start benefit sale April 26th and 27th. Chamber Music QC presents music written in Iowa at Trinity Episcopal Church April 27th. The Quad City Symphony Orchestra presents a family weekend with Gershwin's Magic Key at 2 p.m. at Davenport Central's Performing Arts Center. The 27th Annual Black Hawk College Jazz Festival is coming April 27th to the Quad Cities campus. How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying takes place at the Bruner Theater Center April 26th through May 5th. The Clinton Symphony Orchestra perform at the Vernon Cook Theater at Clinton High on the 27th, and Grumpy Old Men continues at Circa 21. For more information, visit wqpt.org.
Thank you, Laura. The River Music Experience is marking 15 years this year with a new leader and a chance for you to make an impact on music and music education in the cities. And joining us is the new Executive Director of the RME, Tyson Danner. How does that title feel?
Feels pretty good.
Erase that interim thing.
Exactly.
So later this summer, you're going to be taking over for good. What changes do you plan? I know it's not something that you want to make changes right away.
Going to go in and change everything.
Yeah, exactly. But you must have some overriding idea of what you want for the next 15 years.
Well, we've done a lot of thinking in the past 6 months since I've been there. We did a strategic plan, and we've thought about why RME exists and why RME serves its community. And a lot of that has to do with its education programs. So the education programs will continue to grow. They've grown a lot actually already in the past few years. A few years ago, we were reaching 9,000 community members with education programs. This year we'll reach 22,000 just in a few years. So that'll keep growing.
Well, RME, you know, when it first opened was very big on the museum space. You had, of course, the restaurant and the concert venues on the first floor, as well as, you know, the Redstone Room and other things that you have. Also, recording studios were helping people get into the business more and more. Is that still kind of a philosophy for the RME?
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different programs we have. You know, not a lot of nonprofits start fully formed. A lot of nonprofits start with somebody sitting at their kitchen table and it slowly grows and finds its way. So over RME's first 15 years, it's been a process of finding what is best for the community. We learned very quickly on that the museum wasn't as important to a community as education programs were and as concerts were. So most of the museum portion of the second floor has gone away in favor of the Redstone Room now, where we do about 100 concerts a year. Mojo's Cafe was operated by RME, and it didn't take but a few years before they said, no, let's get out of the cafe business and focus on our programs. So it's a learning process, just like any nonprofit has a life cycle.
But let's be honest, music evolves. So should the RME. Is
So
that
should
kind of
a
the
nonprofit,
philosophy?
absolutely. And like with the music scene around here, when RME started, the music scene was not what it is today.
And I've got that down here because that's the one thing I want to discuss. I mean, if you take a look, we're going to have Josh Duffy on in a few moments, what he's done with musicians in this area and the continuation of the Bix legend and jazz. But then you look at what Sean Muller's doing, you take a look at alternating currents and what downtown Davenport is trying to do, and the Rust Belt, which is also with Sean and East Moline. Oh my gosh, a decade and a half.
Who would have thought
It's
we'd be here?
and I know in some ways those that are hip, and that is not me, have wanted this to be a little bit of a mini Austin, Texas. Is that almost the vibe that we're starting to get?
It feels like it to me. It's really happening, and thanks to a lot of folks like the Downtown Davenport Partnership doing alternating currents, like you said, there is really that feeling of growth. And RME was part of a lot of that original growth. And so now the question for RME is, does the community still need us to be producing the same kind of concerts we've always produced? So there's a lot of great people producing excellent music concerts, so maybe we venture into the space where we're bringing in people that nobody else will take the risk on, or people that are maybe a little too expensive for a bar or a music club to bring in. That's where we're going to fill the gap.
So what do you think is going to be the future for music? I mean, is this a fad for the Quad City area to be, instead of South by Southwest, North by Northeast, let's say? I mean, is this something that you think it's so critically important when it comes to attracting people to live in this community, to make it more of a hip area? I mean, that's why I'm wondering if this is a fad or if this is something that really is going to be embraced.
Well, I think it'll last because you want the place you live in to be a good place to be. Whether it's visual art or performing arts, you want all that culture surrounding you, and that keeps people here and that attracts new people here. And as we grow, I don't think we're ever going to slide back. But I also think it's important we make our own music scene and not try to copy Austin or other cities. They've got their own scenes. We're finding something that is really uniquely Quad Cities.
RME is also, as long as we're talking about 15, that seems to be your number this
It's our
year.
number.
You've got, I think it's called a flash fundraising campaign that's starting right now and until May 10th. So some 15 days, 15 stories to tell. Tell me a little bit about this flash fundraising.
Yeah, on our Facebook page, we'll be posting, and on our website, 15 stories, one story a day for 15 days. About the programs that we run and the difference RME makes in the community. So in 15 days, we're raising $15,000 to celebrate our 15th anniversary this summer.
$15,000 would go towards what?
Toward our education programs mostly. We do a huge variety of education programs. Like I mentioned, about 22,000 people a year are touched by our programs, from our weekly efforts at places like Mid-City High School or ARC of the Quad Cities, to big outreach events. We go to schools quite often and do school music classes, all school assemblies. We provide Kidstock rock camps, music lessons. We loan out free band instruments to kids who can't afford to join their school band. It's really so wide-ranging, and most of that we offer for free.
And I wanted to talk about the two different areas that you have, because for the very young, you've got Kidstock going on, and also you're going to nursing homes as well. But let's talk about Kidstock because it's coming up in June. Very popular, very exciting as well. But what's the registration deadline?
We'll take registrations until they're full,
Okay.
but they fill up.
Yeah.
So if anybody's interested in participating in Kidstock, they should check out our website right away. We'll be offering 3 Kidstock camps this year, a week-long camp where kids play in a band together. Each one has 3 or 4 bands, and then they get to do a show at the end of it.
And it's just amazing, because I mean, the kids come together, they become, because music is more than just an individual, it can very much be an individual thing, but you're showing that it can be much more.
Well, music's about being in community with each other. You know, most of the time when you're listening to or performing music, you're with other people. So this is part of what teaching music is. It's teaching kids how to work together as a band and play music.
And I thought it was also interesting is that you also head out to nursing homes because you're trying to use music to help in therapy for dementia and Alzheimer's, which is amazing because that type of stimulation can make all the difference in the world.
It fascinates me. You know, you've heard stories of Alzheimer's patients who aren't verbal but will hum along to a song from their childhood. Music does amazing things in the brain in a way that we really don't understand yet, but we know it's good. So we basically, if somebody calls us up and says, hey, come to our school, come to our nursing home, come to our community group, we show up.
The new executive director of the River Music Experience, Tyson Danner, thanks so much for joining us. Also 15 days of flash fundraising. Check out the RME website.
Thanks, Jim.
I appreciate it so much. The Quad City group, the Candy Makers, will be featured in June at the RME's Live at 5 concert series. Lead vocalist Al Sweet joined us on the community stage of the RME to perform one of his original works. Here's Al Sweet with Bottom On Up.
Power of the Mississippi, oh, so mighty and strong, can tear down your house, can wash away your home. Yeah, I'd like it if you would go there. Then you can see for yourself. These waters, they need a helping hand, and they can't do it all by themselves. No, no, no. There's a great organization that started out of the Quad Cities here called Living Lands and Waters. They clean up the river up and down, not just the Mississippi, but everything else that feeds into the Mississippi River, cleaning up old tires and picking up cars out of the river, all that stuff. Make sure you check out that organization, livinglandsandwaters.org. Power of the Mississippi, ooh, so mighty and strong, can tear down your house, ooh, can build a happy home. Yeah, I'd like it if you would go there now. Then you can find out. These muddy waters, they need a helping hand. From the bottom on up, yeah, from the bottom on up. From the bottom on up, 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 from the bottom on up.
That's Al Sweet from the Candy Makers with an original of his own called Bottom On Up. The Candy Makers will perform at the RME's Live at 5 concert series in June. Well, it's been 10 years since the world lost one of its true originals in the music industry. Louis Bellson was born in Rock Falls, but grew up in the Quad Cities before becoming a world-class drummer and an inspiration to generations of musicians, including a drummer who continues to make a name for himself today in our area. And joining us is Josh Duffy, who is celebrating the music of Louis Bellson in a special concert this Wednesday in Sterling. Where did this all come about?
This came about, I got a call in January from members of the Sterling Municipal Band, their directors in their commission, and they had asked me if I wanted to be the featured guest artist. And I was shocked. I'm like, oh my gosh, this would be wonderful. And I've played in that ensemble. My wife continues to play in that ensemble, and it's one of the longest running community bands in the country. And so all this came about, and then I was thinking, well, we could do like a Louie Bellson concert, because this is the 10-year anniversary of his passing. He would have been 95 this year, so what a time to do it, and what a place in the community where he was born at, with the Rock Falls Sterling community up there.
Well, let's be honest, you have an amazing link to Louie Bellson.
Yeah.
And so many similarities as well, but let's talk about how you first met him and fell in love with what you do so well.
Yeah, it was back in 1996. I met Louie at Wallenberg Hall at Augustana College, and he had come into town to do a drum clinic, and there was a group in the area called the Cabbalas, and the drummer, Joel Dick, was my drum teacher, and he said, you got to go see Louie Bellson. And this is before I had like a picture of what he looked like or anything, so I'm sitting in the hall, and I see this kind of older gentleman get up on stage, and I'm like, is that Louie Bellson? And all of a sudden, he starts playing, and my jaw drops, because he's talking to the audience as he's doing a very hard rudiment on the snare drum. Then he sits behind the drum set and plays like he's 16 years old.
And you were 16
years old. And I was 16,
yeah.
And I'm like, I can't do that. How is he doing that? But then he took time to ask the audience if they had any questions, and he wanted to make it such an educational event because he really cared about the youth. And that moment really turned my career musically, because I saw him play, and I went home immediately and started practicing, and like, I want to play like that. And so I got really into that music, but then he was also into the history, and so I'd ask him questions, and he always remembered my name, which I'm thinking, you see thousands of people, how do you remember my name? And so he'd say, hey Josh, who do you have a question about? And I'd say, how about Zooty Singleton or Baby Dodds? And he goes, oh my gosh. And the stories would flow with a line of people behind me wanting his autograph. He goes, oh, they can wait. I've got stories to tell you.
Well, I mean, is it what got you hooked? Was it the fluidity of how he played, the way it looked like it was just seamless and anybody could do it?
Yeah, he made it look so easy, but he made the drums sound musical. And that's the approach that he took. Instead of just banging on them, he's like, each drum has a tone to it. The cymbals have tones, and you have to have that creative aspect when you sit behind it. He goes, this is a performing art. He goes, we're all artists. And so he goes, every drummer, it's like you're painting a picture on a canvas when you're doing a solo or you're playing. He goes, primarily you have to lay the groove down, and that's your job. He goes, but when it's your time to open up and do a solo, then that's when you can be really creative. But when I saw him on stage, and every solo was different, but he had the technique and the rudimental knowledge to go with all the playing, that was the big picture that I saw.
Now, if I remember correctly, he pretty much got started when he was 16, 17 years old as well.
Right, yeah, and so he had first seen like a marching band, and he had told his dad, he goes, that's what I want to play, because he saw the drum section. He goes, I want to do that. And so the beautiful thing about living in the Quad Cities is that there's still people living that know Louie Bellson and knew him.
Absolutely.
And like people talking about how they'd walk down along Fifth Avenue and hear Louie practicing in the Bellson Music Store down there at 1713 Fifth Avenue. So I'm like, wow, oh my gosh. And then the gentleman who drove Louie to the train station after the graduation in 1942, he's still living, Dave Cox. And he's like, yeah, I loaded Louie's drums and him in my car, and we went to the station, and off we went. And it's like, where else in the country could I hear a story like that? Right here in the Quad Cities is the best place.
It's so interesting because you are so linked with Bix Beiderbecke,
Yeah.
the jazz scene here in the Quad Cities, and then of course as a drummer,
Right.
it would be Louie Bellson as well.
Right.
You kind of forget the wealth of the music that had grown up here in the Quad Cities.
Exactly. This area is so rich with history of jazz music, going from Bix playing with Gene Goldkett's band and Paul Whiteman, and then passing away in 1931. And pretty much it's kind of where you pick up with Louie Bellson, because then he was at Moline High School in the late 30s,
Right.
then had his first job with Ted Fiorito in 1942, and then got the biggest call of them all to play with Benny Goodman in the same year. And this is right after Goodman had his Carnegie Hall concert 4 years earlier with Gene Krupa playing. I'm like, how can this be? Two of these
Right.
icons coming from the same area, just across the river in different states.
Is Louie Bellson's inspiration to you somehow instilled in you that you're trying to pass it on and pay it forward to the next generation?
That's exactly it. And that's why my wife and I decided to stay here and live and teach music. But then the culture of Bix and Louie Bellson, like, this is something I can share my entire life and keep their legacy going and encourage the young musicians like Louie did for me back when I was 16 years old. I never know which students I'm reaching out in the audience like he reached me that day. There could be somebody out there that's a drummer or a musician of any other instrument that they get inspired by what they're hearing, and they can see that I'm living my dream of what I heard 20 20-some years ago now, and then they have that same opportunity to do what I'm doing today.
Well, so many people only know Louis Bellson from who he was associated with in so many ways.
Right.
The fact that he was married to Pearl Bailey.
Yeah.
The fact that he was associated with Johnny Carson in so many different
Right,
ways.
right.
But in your world of Louis Bellson, he's so very much more.
Yeah, he was a personal friend of mine, and I was honored to play at the private family burial in 2009. Then a year later, I was asked by Louis' wife to come back and play a drum solo at the dedication of his marker at Riverside Cemetery in Moline. I mean, two opportunities that I cherished to this day to be able to do that for Louis. And then when she called me and was just like, I want to give you one of Louis' drum sets, I about passed out.
I was going to say, if you're going to talk about being cherished about something, that would be it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
people are going to get a chance to hear that drum set.
They're going to get the chance to hear it, they're going to get the chance to see it, and if they want their picture taken with it, it's going to be on stage where you can get right next to Louis' drums. And this was only one of 7 drum sets he had around the world, and he kept them in like Japan, Europe, and the States, so he didn't have to always ship them where he was going from out of California. So this is the set that he had in California, and it just so happened to meet in the St. Louis area when it was being passed through there to pick it up. But this is the one that he used for a lot of his gigs, publicity photos, and so every time I sit behind this kit, I go back to when I was 16, remembering him sit behind the same exact kit at Wallenberg Hall. And I think, who would have thought all these years later that this would be happening right now?
Well, and this is going to be at Centennial Hall at Sterling High School. That set.
That's right.
You play so many different drum sets.
That's
Does
right.
this one have a certain, I don't know, a certain timbre or a certain magic to it?
It has the magic with the 2 bass drums that Louis invented in the 1940s. He was the pioneer of that, to have 2 bass drums, so it added more of the rumbling and thundering effect instead of just 1 drum.
Which people will love.
Exactly. And what makes me laugh is when you hear all these metal drummers today doing this hard rock music, it all started with Louis Bellson doing that in the 40s with big band music. But that was his signature, was 2 bass drums, but he has cymbals that he hand-picked himself that are going to be on this drum set. And the approach to the drums, when you just look at it, you can just think, what was Louis thinking musically when he played this? And so that's what I'm going to try to get out in my playing. And we're going to be playing Sing Sing Sing, which he played with Benny Goodman's band. We're going to be doing Caravan, which he played with Duke Ellington's band. A piece he composed called Thundering Drums for a concert band for the Midwest Band Clinic. And then he had connections with Sammy Nestico, who's a great jazz arranger, and the piece is called Salute to American Jazz. So we had a lot of pieces throughout the years that were very influential in American culture.
And in some ways, four songs that are signature for him.
Exactly, yes.
We're really looking forward to that. Once again, Josh Duffy, you're going to be with the Sterling Municipal Symphony Band.
That's right.
At Centennial Hall at Sterling High School coming up Wednesday.
7 p.m. free concert.
The price is right. But
You got that right.
The music's going to be worth more than that. Great
Exactly.
memories too as well. So once again, check out that. The details are also at the Sterling Municipal Symphony Band's website. Once again, it's coming up Wednesday starting at 7 o'clock. On the air, on the radio, on the web, and on your mobile device. Thanks for taking some time to join us. We talk about the issues on the cities.